ma'am, honey. Can you let me pee on that road? No, ma'am. We'll head to the jail in just a minute.
On July 22nd, GloRilla was arrested on drug charges. And while her time behind bars didn't last long, it was anything but smooth. Word is she was actually attacked while in custody just moments after being booked. So, who was behind the hit? And what really went down inside that jail? I've got all the details. Let's get into it. The trap. GloRilla getting attacked in jail is what's currently lighting up every headline. But let's be clear, this isn't just another messy celebrity scandal. This feels like the calculated destruction of a rising black superstar dragged through the mud, locked up on what many are calling bogus drug charges, and reportedly assaulted behind bars. All for being loud, successful, and unapologetically herself. And the most disturbing part, she wasn't even home when it all started. Let me break it down. Early Sunday morning, while GloRilla was performing at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis, 3 intruders reportedly broke into her gated community home. They smashed their way in during the dead of night, allegedly to steal. Now here's where things take a hard left. Someone staying in the house, reportedly a family member, fires a gun at the burglars. They run. The break-in is stopped, but when police arrive, instead of rushing to secure the scene and track down the suspects, what do? They raid the house, search the master bedroom, and claim they found over 2.8 pounds of marijuana and THC wax inside. Not the burglars, not the intruder. They found weed and charged GloRilla. Let that sink in. Her home was invaded by burglars, and she's the one who got arrested. By the time deputies raided GloRilla's luxurious home in Forsyth County, she was on stage hundreds of miles away, hyping up a screaming arena crowd at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis. The timing couldn't have been more tragic or convenient. Her attorney immediately called the arrest unbelievable, stating that she was clearly the victim of a crime, not a suspect in one. And GloRilla didn't run or hide. She turned herself in. The price, a $22,000 bond. The mug shot viral within minutes. Social media exploded. Trolls flooded her comments with accusations. Memes circulated like wildfire. Overnight, the headlines changed from star rapper performs at WNBA All-Star Game to GloRilla arrested in marijuana raid. She's no stranger to scrutiny. A little over a year ago, she was arrested in another way that raised questions. It was supposed to be just another night for GloRilla, a regular drive, maybe coming from a show, studio, or private event. But what ended up happening was caught in full detail on police body cam footage now circulating on YouTube. In the clip, a noticeably off-guard GloRilla is pulled over, slurring slightly, and visibly confused as officers begin questioning her. She tries to brush off the incident at first.
Not only can I smell alcohol coming from your breath, but I can also smell marijuana coming from this car.
But as officers press her on how many drinks she's had, the conversation takes a turn. She flips between saying 4-7, then saying, "I'm not drunk." But the officer's response is cold and calculated. Not only can I smell alcohol coming from your breath, but I can also smell marijuana coming from this car. Then, just seconds later, GloRilla admits something that turns a DUI into a potential felony.
Turn around for me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
You're
I'm
under
gonna take
arrest.
this. I'm gonna take this.
That doesn't change anything. You still are going to be arrested.
For what?
Okay.
You don't have any proof on me.
No, ma'am, I do.
And just like that, she was booked. But this latest incident, this isn't about traffic stops or reckless driving. This is about targeting, because not long after GloRilla was taken into custody, whispers began to surface from inside the Forsyth County Jail. Sources close to the facility say she was involved in a violent altercation with another inmate, that she had visible injuries, including bruises, possibly a busted lip, that guards watched it happen, and that she may have even been targeted intentionally because of who she was. Let that sink in. A celebrity who was not present when drugs were discovered at her house gets arrested anyway, and then gets attacked while in custody. Sheriff Ron Freeman issued a flat public statement that reads more like a legal disclaimer than an act of accountability. So let's break that down. They acknowledge that she is a victim, that her home was broken into, that her privacy was violated, that armed intruders had to be shot at just to get them out of her house, and yet she's the one who walked away in cuffs, and now she's the one walking out of jail beaten. This isn't about marijuana. This is about power, about criminalizing success, about what happens when a black woman from Memphis rises too high, too fast, and too loud for white America to stomach. The attack. What happened inside that jail cell wasn't random. It wasn't just unfortunate. It was inevitable. Because from the moment GloRilla's name hit the booking system, the narrative was no longer about a burglary. It wasn't about the actual criminals who invaded her home and ran off with luxury jewelry. It became about breaking her down. A woman who stood on award show stages. A woman who shared private texts with Rihanna. A woman who once wept in Beyonce's dressing room. Now just another inmate stripped of her chains and designer heels, slammed into a mugshot. And according to explosive reports circulating through jailhouse insiders, singled out for humiliation, isolation, and violence. The attack happened just hours after she was processed into Forsyth County Jail. Sources close to the case speaking on the condition of anonymity alleged that GloRilla was immediately recognized by other inmates, and not with admiration, with jealousy, with resentment, and in some cases with malicious intent. She was a target the minute she walked in. One former inmate reportedly told a Memphis blogger who's covered conditions in Georgia jails, the guards didn't separate her. They threw her in general population like she was nobody. A verbal altercation escalated within minutes. GloRilla, according to sources, was verbally harassed, mocked, and even threatened. One woman reportedly yelled at her, "Oh, you're not too famous to get touched." Another reportedly mocked her music and accused her of being a fake gangster. It was the kind of setup you see coming from miles away, and no one stepped in to stop it because this is jail. And in jail, celebrity isn't protection, it's a target on your back. It's alleged that one inmate initiated a physical altercation, grabbing her hair and throwing a punch. In the scuffle, Glo hit her head on a concrete wall, according to one source. Another claimed that she had a split lip and was visibly shaken by the time officers intervened. But here's the most shocking part. There's no evidence that she received medical attention. No hospital visit, no public acknowledgement of an incident, no statement from Forsyth County Jail despite the rapidly growing noise on social media. The institutional gaslighting that follows incidents like this is almost as violent as the attack itself. By refusing to acknowledge what happened, by treating it as if it never occurred, the system sends a clear message. Your pain doesn't matter. Your safety doesn't matter, and your voice will be silenced. This is how they break people, not just physically, but psychologically, making them question their own reality. What's particularly sinister is how this mirrors the treatment of black women. Throughout American history, from slavery to the present day, black women's pain has been minimized, their voices dismissed, their experiences erased from official records. The same forces that once denied enslaved women basic humanity now operate through jail systems, media narratives, and industry gatekeepers. Let's zoom in on the legal trap she was caught in Georgia. Felony marijuana possession begins at 1 ounce. Deputies claim to have found nearly 3 pounds in her bedroom along with 2 jars of THC wax. But the legal problem isn't the weight, it's the lack of direct possession. At the time of the raid, GloRilla was performing out of state. She was not present. The drugs were not found on her person, and most notably, someone else was living in the house. Her attorneys have repeatedly stated that a family member had been staying there and the home had multiple occupants during her time away. So how is it that law enforcement pinned the drugs solely on her? Because in American justice system, celebrity status is both a blessing and a curse. If you're famous, your name carries weight. But when it comes to criminal charges, it's easier to arrest the name people recognize. Let's not forget Forsyth County has a brutal racial history. Once notorious for its all-white population and violent expulsion of black families in the early 1900s, it has only in recent decades attempted to shed that legacy, but remnants remain. And when you arrest a black woman like GloRilla, when you parade her mugshot across television screens and national headlines, you're not just enforcing a law, you're sending a message. The choice of where to target her feels deliberate. Forsyth County isn't just any jurisdiction. It's a place where racial terror once ruled openly, where black families were driven out by organized violence, where the very soil holds memories of lynchings and ethnic cleansing. For GloRilla to own property there, to succeed there, to exist there as a powerful black woman challenges every foundation that county was built on. The legal system's response reveals the deep-seated fear that her success represents. Here's a woman who escaped the cycles of poverty and violence that the system depends on to justify its existence. She made it out, bought property in their exclusive neighborhoods, and dared to live loudly and authentically. That kind of success story threatens the narrative that keeps oppressive systems in place and the industry silent. Where were the WNBA reps who booked her just days earlier? Where were the streaming platforms that capitalized on her TikTok virality? Where were the artists she once called mentors? Those who posted photos, congratulated her Grammy nomination, or shared her music and stories? Nowhere, because when the system comes for a black woman, they all disappear. This isn't new. We saw it with Megan Thee Stallion when she was publicly doubted for her trauma. We saw it with Cardi B when people weaponized her past. But this feels even more raw because GloRilla's arrest wasn't even related to violence, weapons, or confrontation. It was weed. The very same weed that white celebrities have smoked on camera, launched product lines around, and even joked about during interviews. Seth Rogen has a marijuana empire. Miley Cyrus has flaunted weed use in performances. But GloRilla, she faces felony charges for being near it. This is selective criminalization, and it's part of a pattern that runs deeper than the media wants to admit. The double standard becomes even more glaring when you consider the broader context of cannabis legalization across America. While GloRilla faces felony charges, entire industries have been built around marijuana by people who look nothing like her. The same plant that threatens to destroy her life has made millionaires out of venture capitalists, tech entrepreneurs, and celebrity endorsers, most of whom happen to be white. What's even more insidious is how the war on drugs has always been a war on specific communities. The same substances that land black women in prison become wellness products and artisanal experiences when marketed to different demographics. GloRilla's case isn't an anomaly. It's the system working exactly as designed. The timing of her arrest also raises questions about coordination between law enforcement and industry interest. When artists become too independent, too vocal, or too powerful, convenient legal troubles have a way of materializing. The pattern is so consistent it feels orchestrated. Build them up, let them get comfortable, then tear them down when they start demanding too much control over their own narrative. But GloRilla didn't go down quietly. After bonding out for $22,000, she took to social media to slam the system. Instead of focusing on finding the suspects, they focus on some cannabis. Long story short, my house gets home invaded, and I'm the only one that gets arrested. GloRilla via X, her fans responded with fury. #Frio trended within hours. Memes turned to protest. Blogs started connecting the dots because it was clear this wasn't just a bad arrest.
It feel good, actually. I love it. Like, it help you. And sometimes, like, we need to hear people talk or criticism and shit. And so it can make us remember, okay, I got to get back on my, you know what I'm saying, on my P and turn back.
It was prophetic because even when she's doubted, she turns up. Even when she's hit with hate, she turns up. Even when the system tries to bury her behind concrete walls, she turns up the pattern. Before the handcuffs, before the mugshot, before the jail cell, there was hallelujah. Not the prayer. The name Gloria Hallelujah Woods, a girl from the Fraser neighborhood of North Memphis with 10 siblings, a wild imagination, a love for God, and an even deeper love for music. No label, no money, no studio, just a dream, and from that, a movement. If you really want to understand the tragedy of what happened in that Forsyth County jail cell, you have to go back to the beginning. You have to understand what she fought through to get there. Because GloRilla wasn't handed success. She built it from scratch. When she was growing up, GloRilla didn't have much. She's been open about it, sleeping on air mattresses with her siblings, crowding into small homes, her mother raising 10 kids on grit and faith. Her unique name, Hallelujah, was no accident. As she once explained, her mom marked her. She always felt a little different. Not special, but called. This contributed to her strong faith.
It's called Glow's Prayer. I'm praying to God, like, God, please don't ever let me do that again.
She was raised in the church, sang in choirs, and even wanted to be a gospel artist at first. But she also grew up around the harsh realities of the streets, poverty, violence, struggle, and music that became her way out. She started rapping seriously in high school, going by the name Big Glow. Early tracks were raw DIY visuals, homemade beats, and lyrics packed with regional slang. But she had something you couldn't teach: a distinctive voice, a hunger in her delivery, and a natural magnetism on camera. She wasn't polished. She wasn't industry trained, but she was real. In April 2022, GloRilla released FNF with producer Hitkit. It wasn't supposed to be a chart topper. It was supposed to be an anthem for the summer, a gritty, high-energy banger about liberation, independence, and female camaraderie. The kind of song that plays loud at stoplights and backyard kickbacks. Within weeks, it had gone mega viral on TikTok with women across the country chanting the hook like a war cry. I'm FREEFKing free. That moment it detonated. The visual was low-budget, filmed in Memphis with her homegirls on top of cars twerking on hoods and screaming into the camera. But that was the magic. It looked like us. Authentic, loud, black, southern, hood-free, and the industry couldn't ignore it. By summer's end, FNF had racked up tens of millions of streams, and GloRilla was being hailed as the breakout star of the year. Then came the cosigns. Cardi B hit her line. The two released Tomorrow Too, and it was an instant smash, debuting in the Billboard Top 10 and becoming a viral force in its own right. Then came Bet performances. Then came award nominations. Then came the moment she said she cried inside Beyoncé's dressing room. She wasn't acting. She wasn't playing humble. She was genuinely overwhelmed because the same girl who used to watch Bad Girls Club on her phone during tattoo sessions was now performing on the same stage as her heroes. But her rise wasn't just viral hype. She was racking up real accolades. A Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance, BT Hip Hop Award wins, a record deal with Yawadi CMG, reportedly worth $500,000 plus, and placement on nearly every major music festival lineup in 2023. Suddenly, GloRilla wasn't just an artist. She was a brand. She had her own slang, her own memes, her own style. Her distinctive voice, growly, bold, unforgettable, became her signature, and women across the country, especially young, black women, embraced her as their own. She was proof that you didn't have to be polished, suburban, or industry prepped to make it. You just had to be relentlessly yourself. And yet, there were warning signs. Because when GloRilla started talking about how hard she loved, how much heartbreak she carried, how she'd been hurt before, something deeper came out. Even at the peak of her career, she was healing. Because fame didn't erase the trauma, it magnified it. She even went through a public 60-day celibacy challenge, trying to cleanse herself spiritually and emotionally from the chaos around her.
It was 60.
60 day.
Yeah.
60 day. What made you want to lock in and do a 60-day celibacy thing?
This wasn't just an artist riding a wave. This was a woman rebuilding herself in real time while the world watched and judged. Her vulnerability became both her strength and her liability. In a culture that demands authenticity but punishes honesty, GloRilla's openness about her struggles made her relatable to fans, but suspicious to industry gatekeepers. The surveillance that comes with fame is particularly brutal for women like GloRilla. Every move is monitored. Every relationship scrutinized, every mistake magnified. The same authenticity that made her famous becomes the rope used to hang her when things go wrong. She couldn't be the perfect victim because she was too real, too human, too honest about her flaws. And that's why her arrest hit so hard, because we saw her rising. We saw her fighting. We saw her surviving. And then they slapped a felony on her. But GloRilla's arrest didn't happen in a vacuum. It didn't start when cops raided her house. It started long before that. Because the minute GloRilla became famous, the clock started ticking on when she became too loud, too hood, too sexual, too real, and eventually too dangerous. She's just the latest in a long line of female rappers the industry used up and threw away. The machinery of destruction is always the same. First, they extract every ounce of marketable energy from these women. They study their moves, appropriate their slang, package their pain for mass consumption. Then, when the women demand fair compensation, creative control, or basic human dignity, suddenly they become difficult, problematic, or unmarketable. This isn't accidental. It's a calculated system designed to prevent black women from accumulating the kind of power that threatens existing hierarchies. By cycling through artists quickly and discarding them before they can build sustainable wealth or influence, the industry maintains control while appearing to celebrate diversity. Foxy Brown, the blueprint. At one point, Foxy Brown was untouchable. A teenage phenom with unmatched lyrical ability and a larger-than-life image. Foxy defined the 90s era of rap royalty. Signed at 16, multi-platinum by 18. Then came the media obsession with her attitude, her outburst, her legal troubles. When she began to lose her hearing, a tragic and deeply personal medical condition. Did the industry rally behind her? No, they left her. Brat, another trailblazer, the first female solo rapper to go platinum. But when she got arrested in 2007 for assault in a nightclub brawl, everything changed. She served 3 years in the industry quiet. When she came home, she didn't get a welcome home single, no label deals, no industry red carpet. Remy Ma, a lyrical monster, one of the few women to go bar for bar with the best in the game. But when she was sentenced to 8 years in prison for shooting a friend in 2008, the media coverage wasn't about her artistry. It was about her temper, her rage, her gangster persona. Megan Thee Stallion still active, still fighting. But let's be honest, she never fully recovered from what happened with Tory. She was shot. She went to court. She won. And what did the industry do? Turned on her. Men mocked her. Blogs accused her of lying. Fellow artists who called her sister on red carpets suddenly stopped returning her calls. Elia Banks, perhaps the most tragic example of all. An undeniable genius when it comes to music. Visionary, fearless, unfiltered. And that last word is the one that got her killed in the press. She wasn't marketable because she wouldn't shut up. She called out racism, colorism, double standards, and she said it all in real time without a PR filter. And the industry, they turned her into a punchline. The demonization of Azealia Banks serves as a warning to other black women in music. Speak too loudly about systemic issues, and you'll be branded as crazy or difficult. Her case reveals how the industry uses mental health stigma